And number 4, the best way by which to benefit the beings is by achieving Buddhahood. Number 4. You getting it? Number 1 is you cultivate a very strong love and affection towards all beings equally. Number 2, you see this suffering plight, or the plight of the suffering of the sentient beings. Number 2. Number 3, you want to benefit the beings so much because you love them and you see them suffering. Automatically it will take you number 3, that I want to benefit the beings to its fullest. How to benefit? By becoming a Buddha. Okay, 4 points. Okay, now we see that step out of the 9 steps. Step 1 through to step. What is step 7? What is step 7? Special recollection of the kindness of others. Step 1 through to 7 is to build your. Step 1 through to 7 is to build your love and affection towards the beings. Step 1 through to 7 is to build your love and affection towards the beings. Then altruism. Step 8, altruism. Step 8, altruism. Altruism involves the point number 2 and 3. Point number 2, seeing the suffering nature of the beings and wanting to benefit the beings. Altruism, take the responsibility. Altruism includes the 2 steps, two points. Seeing the suffering nature of the beings and taking the responsibility. Wanting to benefit. Seeing the suffering nature of the beings and wanting to benefit the beings. These are the 2 things included in the altruism. And then, what is point number?
1 and 2?
No.
2 and 3.
So we talked about
Altruism, what does it include?
Okay, we talked about the 4 points. 4 points outside these 7 steps. What are the 4 points that we discussed? Feeling of tremendous love towards all sentient beings, number 1. Number 2 is seeing their suffering nature. Number 3, wanting to benefit them. Number 3. Number 4, wanting to become a Buddha. 4. On the other hand, we have the 7 steps. No, 9 steps. With the 9 steps, right? So now, how do these 9 steps go with the 4 points we discussed? Right? Of the 9 steps, step 1 through to step 7 is just to build that love and affection towards the beings. Step 1 through to 7 is to build the love and affection towards the beings. Step 8 is altruism. This is from this, when we correlate with the 4 points, is to see the suffering nature of the other beings, the suffering plight of sentient beings, and wanting to help them. So these 2 are included in step number 2 and 3 are included in which of the 9 steps?
8.
Step number 8, altruism. Okay. Then the point number 4 goes with which step? 9th one. Okay, good. So the point is that from this, of the 9 steps, 7 steps are dedicated to build love and affection towards the beings. You getting it? Therefore, this is the most difficult part. To feel the love and affection towards the other beings equally. This is the most difficult part. You getting it? Okay. So therefore, for your information, what are the 2 wings to become achieved to travel to the destination of Buddhahood? What are the 2 wings? The wisdom and the compassionate mind of Bodhicitta. Compassionate mind of Bodhicitta and the wisdom, right? The 2. And the 2 wings, we have to build them. Which of the 2 wings we have? Which of the 2 wings you have? You have both or you have one? Huh?
We build them.
We have to build them, right?
We have to build them.
Do we have them, Ari?
Slowly.
Slowly it will come. Very good.
But we say in Igbo, there is a song in Igbo that איך אומרים גובה? The height of the fly, it's by
the wings.
By the wings.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, now we see that these 2 wings were to build. We have to build, right? We have to make these two wings. Okay, now while making these two wings, one thing that we need to know is that we have to do this through 3 steps. 3 steps. Both. We have to learn, we have to build through 3 steps. 1, the wisdom drive through learning. The 1, through learning. Number 2, reflection. Number 3, meditation. Number 1 is learning. Number 2 is reflection. Number 3 is meditation. Only with these 3 points, then we can build the 2 wings, the wing of the Bodhicitta and the wing of the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, so these 3 points we have to gain conviction. We have to know what these 3 points are. Okay, tell me, what do you think is the difference between the first and second? The learning and reflection. What do you think is the difference?
Reflection is I go with myself.
Then?
Inside.
Yes.
And learning is also from outside.
Learning is also...
And
okay, tell me, what is the measure of having reached the first level? What is the measure of having reached the second level? Second level meaning the reflection. What is the measure of having reached the third level? The meditation.
In the first one, I get the information. In the second one, I'm convinced that I agree with it. I'm convinced that it's true. The third one, I want to bring it into the stream of my mind, to be part of my inner being.
Okay, very good. Ari, you want to say something?
Yeah, it's to learn and to teach, to be reflection to others.
Okay, no, the Ari, we are talking about the 3, which is learning, reflection, meditation, not teach. Learning, reflection, meditation. What's the difference? This point that I'm asking. Okay, now what Leora said, agree with her. We have to make it very clear, right? Number 1 is to gather information.
Yeah.
How to practice Bodhicitta? What are the steps? How to meditate? What are the points to reflect on? Gathering information. This is the first point, which is learning or studying. Number 1. Then number 2 is the reflection. With the number 1, gathering the information does not mean that you will gain conviction. For example, let's say that how many of you know the Albert Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared? How many of you have heard about this equation? How many of you can say this by heart? E equals mc squared. We all can say this. Are you convinced with this equation?
No.
We are not convinced. Meaning that we have no clue. It's not that, this equation may be wrong. No, we have no clue how this equation comes into being. But we know. We know what is the famous equation of Albert Einstein? E equals mc squared. We know this. But are you convinced? Do you have the conviction in this equation? I have no clue, right? Okay, so that is known as the learning. You just acquire the information, that's it. You are not convinced. You are not, you have not gained conviction in what you've learned. So which means you are still in the phase of the learning, number 1. Now, after this, whatever you have learned, you subject this to analysis. And as to scrutinize, to see whether it makes sense, whether what it says is true. You have to subject this to more and more analysis. With more and more analysis, you reach to a level whereby you say that 100% is correct. When you gain this conviction, 100% is correct, you have to move to the level of the reflection. Right?
This is the reflection.
You have reached the level of, you have the consummated. You have consummated meaning you have accomplished. You have accomplished the reflection. You have accomplished the reflection, the fruit of the reflection. The fruit of the reflection is to gain conviction. Okay, oftentimes I share the experience with my friends. Okay, say at one point I was in one place, my friend's place, and my friend has a young son. He must be aged 6, I think. He must be aged 6. And I gave him some almonds. Not really give, I put some almonds there, and he I offered him.
What is the language? Almonds.
Yes. And he said that he ate one piece and he said, I like almonds. He started to eat more. Then he said he picked up one almond and said that he was telling me that inside this is white. He told me inside this one. Now I know why. I know this inside is white. I already know this, right? But he was telling me that inside is white. He's very young. So I want to know about this. I want to see. I want to verify the 3 levels of the learning. Learning, reflection, meditation. Reflection means conviction. So I was just checking him. What is his conviction, right? I told him, wow, is it really white inside? He said, yes. And I pretended to check. I put it, made half, and said, wow, it's white. How do you know this? I told him, did somebody tell you? He said, no, I didn't know this by myself. You're getting it? So when you say, I know this by myself, he's saying that this is my knowledge. He is not ready to give the credit to others. So when you say, how you know is equals MC square? Albert Einstein said it. It is not our knowledge. It's a borrowed knowledge. When it is a borrowed knowledge, you are still in the phase of the learning. When it becomes your knowledge, equals MC square, how do you know this? Yes, I know this. This is how it should be derived. Right? I derive this for you, then it becomes your knowledge. The moment it becomes your knowledge, this is conviction that you've gained. This is conviction that you've gained. The moment you've gained conviction, at that point it becomes the knowledge derived through reflection. Number 2. That is so precious. That is so precious. The more you gain conviction in Bodhicitta, the more you gain conviction in the wisdom and maintenance, you will feel like practicing them so joyfully. You will feel like practicing them. Okay, number 2. What is number 3? Number 3, meditation, right? Okay. Okay. Now from this conviction, you have to move to the meditation. Okay. Some of you already know this, but we will do a little bit of exercise to distinguish between what is conviction and what is the meditation, right? Okay, tell me. By the way, tell me, why should we have to practice the wisdom of emptiness, Bodhicitta? What for? Hey, no idea. For enlightenment, to achieve Buddhahood. For enlightenment, right? Okay. And enlightenment already is within you. Buddha nature already within you. Why do we have to work again?
Because it's not emanated.
Why it is not emanated?
Because we don't practice it.
No. Why it is not emanated? It's also inside you.
It's covered.
It's covered. Covered by what?
Ignorance.
Afflictions, mental defilements. You're getting it? Okay. So, mental defilements stop you from making the Buddhahood come out. Mm-hmm. And the wisdom of emptiness and Bodhicitta, they will fight with the mental defilements. You're getting it?
That's the antidote.
Antidote.
Yeah.
Wisdom, emptiness and Bodhicitta, these 2 are the antidotes to fight with the mental defilements. Right? Now, look at the mental defilements such as attachment, anger, jealousy, right? How active they are, how spontaneous they are, how intense they are. Okay, the negative mental defilements, how intense they are. They are very less intense or very intense. Right? Somebody says, suddenly, somebody comes and says, hey, what are you doing here? You ran away from the place 2 hours away, 3 hours away, 1 hour away, right? To this very secluded, remote kibbutz. Right? What for you? You are just wasting such a time. You are such a stupid guy. In the public, somebody says like this. Then what is your reaction? He should have become angry, right? Then she was, of course, why not? Okay, let me meditate on anger. Is this how you become angry? How you become angry? Or it is spontaneous, right? Okay, so the anger is so spontaneous, so high quality. It's so high quality, right? and very spontaneous and very intense. This is a negative force. And this negative force, which is so intense and so spontaneous, what will eradicate this? Wisdom of emptiness. And what is the wisdom of emptiness like? Wisdom of emptiness like? Right? What is the wisdom of emptiness like in our case? You have to ring the bell first. You have to ring the bell, and the people, okay, still we have 5 minutes. Wisdom of emptiness, you have to come. Well, still we have 5 minutes. Why they ring a little early? Why did they come? They don't come directly here. First they go to tea. Go to tea. Okay, tea. Right? Wisdom still yet to come. Wisdom still yet to come. And anger already came and gone. Right? Anger came and gone. Wisdom has to come. Right? And then Dhyatha, Gadega, still wisdom is not there. Just the words are coming. The words are coming, the meaning is not coming. Right? So this is the wisdom. Right? So the wisdom, we have to make it very active, very spontaneous, very intense. Right? For that matter, we think how to make this symbolism, even if you have learned about wisdom of emptiness, you gain conviction in this now after reflection, still we have to, make it very spontaneous and very intense, right? Okay, now let us see the difference between the wisdom of emptiness on the reflection level and on the meditation level. You want to see the difference? Huh?
Yes.
Okay, if you want to see the difference, we're going to do a little exercise. Okay, sit up properly. Sit properly. Okay, what are we doing here?
Meditate.
Not meditate. What did I say? See the difference between wisdom drawn through reflection and wisdom drawn through meditation, right? Okay, so difference, we're going to explore difference. This is so important. Okay, one. So this is, right? So your job is do the mathematical exercise, right? Your job is to do the mathematical exercise, and I'll promise, I give you very simple numbers. I'll not complicate you. I'll give you very simple numbers. Your job is to do the mathematics. Don't give me the answer, right? Only when I ask you what is the answer, you tell me. Otherwise, you do the calculation from inside, right? Very simple mathematics, plus and minus. Ready? Okay. 2 plus 1. And don't verbally say this, right? Don't verbally say this, just calculate within you. Only when I ask you what is the answer, then you give me an answer, right? Okay. Okay, let's begin from the game. Begin. 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3 minus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3. What's the answer? 15. Very good. Okay, ready now? The second, I promise I will not complicate it. I'll give the same number. Maximum is 3. Right? Very simple mathematics. Okay, ready? Okay, good. 2 plus 1, 2. Okay, let me begin again. Let's start again. 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3 minus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 minus 1 plus 2 minus 1 plus 2 plus 3. What's the answer?
15.
Huh? No, it's not the same. We cannot. Why?
Because it was too fast.
Because I say too fast.
The drinking speed is that fast.
Very fast. Because I say too fast. You do not say that because my mind is working too slow. You do not say this. You blame outside, right? You are saying so fast, right? Actually, your mind could not work that fast. Your mind is very slow. You have to say that my mind is very slow.
Negating the negation.
We don't say this. You just blame outside, right? You say it very fast. Okay. So look, this is our wisdom. Our wisdom is so slow. Whereas the negative forces are so fast. Right? Negative forces are so fast. But even if somebody says that, okay, did I get my share? Instantly anger already arises. Very sophisticated. Not only, intense and fast, very sophisticated. With the wisdom, very slow. Even the simple mathematics, you you cannot do it very fast. Very slow. Right? So now, how to make it fast? How come that the negative forces are very fast? How come that the wisdom is not fast? Practicing. You're getting it, we have to practice it. What you have...
Why is nature like this?
Okay, the nature, because we are not, the babies are not babies. Because we are from the past lives. So attachment, anger, jealousy, all these negative forces, we are so used to that since many past lifetimes. Whereas the wisdom, after all these many lifetimes, for the first time in Kippu's Bodhicitta, we are hearing the wisdom of emptiness. Right? So this is something alien. Attachment, anger, jealousy, all these things, we are so familiar with this. So familiar because of this, our mind is so fast. Right? Whereas the wisdom, our mind is very slow. And yet, you did not admit that, right? You did not admit that your mind is slow. You said, you are saying fast. Right? Okay, in actuality, our mind is slow. You're getting it? Okay, now what do we have to do? We have to make a mind fast with the wisdom. How to make the mind fast? By practice. You're getting it? By constant practice. By constant practice. Constant practice known as meditation. You're getting it? Wisdom drawn through learning, wisdom drawn through reflection, and wisdom drawn through meditation. What the conviction that you gained must be practiced over and over again to make it very fast, intense, spontaneous. That is wisdom drawn through meditation. You're getting it? Okay, this is what we should be doing. Okay. So for this, what we keep in mind for the Bodhicitta, what we learned thus far, there are 9 steps, of course, 9 steps, but 9 steps can be summarized into the 4 points. Point 1, love and affection towards all beings. Point 2, seeing their suffering nature of sentient beings to whom you love so much. Point number 3, wanting to benefit them. Point number 4, want to benefit them by becoming Buddha. These 4 points. So these 9 steps are summarized in the 4 points. Keep this in mind, right? Whereas in your meditation, it is not necessary that you have to explicitly think of these 4 points. You can just think of the 9 steps. It's good enough. Why I'm including them into 4 points is for you to know why we need these 9 steps, right?
Can you go over the 4 again?
Okay, number 1. Number 1 is the cultivating love and affection towards all beings. Cultivating love and affection towards all beings. Number 2. Okay, number 1 is cultivating love and affection towards all beings. Number 2, seeing the plight of the suffering of all the beings. Seeing the plight of the suffering of all the beings. Seeing the plight of the suffering of all the beings. This is number 2. Number 3, wanting to benefit all the beings. Wanting to benefit all the beings by removing their suffering. Wanting to benefit all the beings by removing their suffering. And then number 4, wanting to become Buddha for the benefit of all beings. Wanting to become Buddha. Wanting to become Buddha, okay. Wanting to become Buddha.
Equanimity will come through practicing loving for everybody?
Okay, good question. Good question. First, we will continue with this. Say the also 4 points. First 2 will automatically lead you. First 2 points will lead you to the 3rd, and 3rd will lead you to the 4th. This is how we should know, and it becomes easy. Okay. The next point is loving the equanimity. Equanimity, does it come automatically? This question. You getting it? Okay. Equanimity, they say with the first method, the method of the 7-fold causative method. So there we need a separate practice of the equanimity. we need the equanimity as separate from 7 steps. A 7-fold cause effect method. So before the 7 steps, we begin with the equanimity. That is for the 7-fold cause effect method, the first method. For the second method, which we are doing now, for the 9 steps, equalizing exchanges for others, which are Bodhicitta, there equanimity is not required, because the first method says we are all equal. We are all equal in wanting happiness and love. The first one, what's the first method? What's the first step? What's the first step of the 9 steps? Huh? Equalizing self and others. Equalizing me and others. Me and others. Me and my mother. My mother and my mother and the neutral person. My mother and my enemies. They're all equal, right? All equal in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. It was already there in the first method.
And they work about all the 7 steps together at the same time.
Okay, so first, what we do is we will do the two methods separately, right? Equalizing exchanges of fathers, one method, and I don't know whether we'll get time to do the 7-fold cause effect method. I don't know. If we get, we'll do it. And if you're interested, then we can synthesize the two. Synthesize, blend the two, bring the two methods together and make it 13 steps. 13 steps is a combination of the two methods, right? We can do it in the form of the combined form. But I personally, at one point I was doing the two combined sometimes, but nowadays I do them separately, right? The first one, the 7-fold cause effect method, I do it, and then followed by the method of equalizing the exchanges of others. And sometimes I do the second one first, the first one second. I alter it depending on my situation, right? Okay, so the synthesized, but there's a synthesized version also. The synthesized version has at the 13 steps.
So if I'm in the bus, I sit in the bus, I need to repeat all the 13?
Okay, when you're on a bus, okay, so, huh? Say it again.
Not enough.
You have any toys? למה יתבול ברגליים?
We have to know it on our feet.
Oh, yes. All the 13 steps should be on the fingertips. Yes. Only if we are on the fingertips, the 13 steps, and in fact, they're not difficult.
I need to repeat them? To repeat all them?
Okay, first we have to study. Right? First we'll study. After studying this, then we'll discuss how to practice it. You getting it? Okay. So basically this is the analytical meditation. This analytical meditation, you have to analyze. Okay, the point that I'm sharing with you, what I'm supposed to be sharing with you is that, say, both the wisdom of the two wings, Bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. These two things, there are two things. One is to know intellectually. One. Then number 2, to experience. There are 2. To know intellectually and to experience 2. Very strange. Wisdom of emptiness, to know the wisdom of emptiness, it will take a lot of time. To know the wisdom of emptiness, it takes a lot of time. Once you know this, then to experience that is very quick. With the wisdom of emptiness, to know this will take a lot of time. And to experience it is very quick. Once you know this, experience, it will not take much time. It's a matter of your practice. You practice it and it will come to you very quickly. Whereas for the Bodhicitta, to know is very easy. To experience will take a long time. This is the difference.
Because I think the first one, it's almost impossible to know it by intellectually.
Which one?
The first one, it takes a long time.
Wisdom of emptiness.
Yeah.
No, we have to study.
Yeah.
Okay, first let us not presuppose. You know, let's learn why the wisdom of emptiness. It takes long time to know.